Whoa. I like the music. My own buntag if you're in the Philippines. Anime. Good morning, good morning. Sandy is here. Sandy. Larice, I'm trying out some new equipment. Good morning, Anime. Thank you for being here. Inomako Cafe. I'm trying to get used to pulling the levers and pushing the buttons. It's hard. It's hard when you're an old man. Let me see if I can figure out how to get out of this right here. Wow, did I start on time or was I late? I think I was late. Let me see. If you don't mind. Uh-oh, buffering. I forgot to change over to my signal to the other Wi-Fi. So I don't know what to do here. I hate buffering, So let me see if I can remedy that by opening the door. Okay, hang on, everybody. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go open the door to give the signal a way to get into this concrete room that I'm in. Stand by. Stand by. Right here. It's gonna be open. Woo! Man, oh man, I can't believe I did that. I had everything lined up and I forgot to switch over the internet to the one that's located back here in the back basement. So I opened up the I opened up the door so that we can get some, not only get some air, but also so we can get a signal in here. Uh-oh. I see a problem already. Propping the door open, it won't stay open by itself. Yeah. Whew. Hi, everybody. Okay, so let's see. What was I going to talk about today? Thanks for joining me. Des is here. Des, thank you so much for coming. Aileen Cruz is in the house. Larice, the Philippines' most eligible bachelorette and socialite. Rosetto. Oh, Rosetto. Wait a minute. Welcome, my friend. Thanks so much. It's Wednesday morning here in the Philippines. It's about, what time is it? A little after 8 a.m. And I've got my coffee, and I decided that I would do a midweek live stream. So I hope you don't mind. Hey, so what we're talking about today is we're talking about facts and details, women in the Philippines, status, stereotypes. And I thought this was, an appropriate topic, and the reason why is because I got such a big response when I started saying on one of my live streams, I said, don't become the shack up honey. And so then I thought, hey, maybe I'm onto something, don't become the shack up honey. And then all of a sudden I get a whole bunch of a flood of emails talking about, oh, thanks so much, Dan, for your live stream. Telling people that it's not a good idea to be shacking up with a foreigner because you're, there's no benefit to that. Yeah, love is blind. Is that what they say? Love is blind, and that's the reason why I wanted to come up here and talk about it, because it's easy to fall in love with another Filipino or a foreigner, then end up in that living arrangement, where people move in together and they have a good old time playing house. But see, it's if you're a Filipina and you're married to, and you fall in love with a foreigner, and then you guys decide that you're going to test drive the relationship by moving in with each other, then what happens? What's the next step after that? And so I'm not anti moving in together with your foreigner boyfriend or girlfriend for that matter. But what I am saying is that usually people don't think beyond that point. So everybody's living one happy life, living under the same roof. Everything is cool. Everything is beautiful. And then all of a sudden somebody dies. Changes the whole picture, right? So now, here's the reason why I thought I wanted to talk about this, the reason why I wanted to bring it up. Like I said, overwhelming response to a simple sentence that I said, which was, don't become the shack up honey, right? So for a couple of different reasons, I just want to explain to myself, you can do whatever you want. I'm not the marriage police. Oh, if I were living in America and I'm married to an American woman, or I have an American girlfriend, hey, what harm can it do? What harm can it do living together as opposed to being married? I'll tell you why. The number one reason why you'd want to do it, if you're a Filipina and you're with a foreign national, somebody has imported themselves into your country and they find they find love, right? And so now what's the next step after you guys move into each other? So you guys want to go through a test drive period. You want to go ahead and test drive each other. And then you want to go, oh, this is pretty good. What was the title to this live? Filipino women are hot in the cot. Is that true, or is that a stereotype? Dan knows, but he's keeping it a secret. That's for me to know and for you to find out. But so let's say everything's beautiful, you get along great, you're madly in love with each other, you have the you know, you're all googly eyed, everything is hot in the bedroom, everything is hot in terms of, you getting along in the relationship, and then all of a sudden somebody dies, and it just turns out that it's the foreigner. But you've already been living with each other for 2 years down the road, right? What's the benefit to you? What did the foreigner loved you so much that he left you or she left you all their money, right? Oh, wait. I have a sense of the live stream. I apologize, so it doesn't happen next time. I don't think that was with having to bury him. And so that's what the problem is with that. So because you guys didn't talk about what was going to happen afterwards, you didn't discuss it. There was no discussion of marriage. Things were going so well in the future. Things were going so well in the relationship that you failed to consider. All right, I think I'm going to have to move this computer, trying to figure out where the right signal is. Filipina, Raquel is in the house. How are you? Hey, I'm having a little problems with buffering. I apologize about that. Zendi's here, Crystal's here, and I'm getting a slight delay on the clicking of the mouse. I'm not sure if it's all related to my signal problems or if it's related to StreamYard having signal problems. All right, well, anyway, so here's the whole thing about this relationship thing. Mamini says hello. She's in the other room doing something. I'm not sure. She might be by. She'll probably be by to make sure that I have plenty of coffee. So yeah, so the reason is because there are benefits to be married to that foreigner depending on what country the foreigner is from. And so if you're not married, they most often they all require you to be married, to each other. For example, Ma'am Minnie and I, in order for her to qualify for my retirement benefits, we had to be married 2 years. 2 years, and she qualifies for my retirement benefits. So I have 2 pensions. One, I'm a lucky boy. I have 2 pensions. One of them comes from the government Social Security office. One of them comes from local government office, the county that I worked for prior to retiring. So in order to get the Social Security survivor's benefit, Ma'am Minnie is going to have to wait until she turns age 67. So once I've left this planet and I go to the ultimate reward, Ma'am Minnie has to wait till age 67 in order to collect my benefits from the federal government of the United States. However, until she reaches that age, she's eligible to receive my local government pension. There's no age requirement. The only requirement was for us is that we be married at least 2 years in order for her to qualify. And then once I leave this planet, Ma'am Minnie gets 60% of those benefits. That's 60% of the number that we're now receiving now in retirement. Ma'am Minnie, she gets to continue getting after my demise, after my death. Demise. That's such a harsh way of putting it. My demise. Once I'm dead and gone, once I'm dead and buried, then Ma'am Minnie is entitled to receive 60% of that local benefit, that local government pension that I have earned by working 20 some years for that agency that I work for. So that's how it works. And so, but it would not have worked. And as many of you know, Ma'am Minnie and I, we've been married for 17 and a half years. So the whole thing is it would not have worked very, very well had we not been married. In other words, no benefit entitled unless you're married. So if all of a sudden I get the big one, God forbid, God forbid I have an emergency, I end up in the hospital, and within minutes, God has decided to take me home. Well, then Ma'am Minnie will not be harmed financially. Now, in between the time that we are receiving both these retirement benefits and the time that I leave this planet, the smart thing to do that we have to do is save. But listen, I have heard horror stories, and that's what we're doing. But I have heard these horror stories, right, that basically involve couples living in this live-in relationship, foreigner Filipina wife, and the man dies, and she gets stuck with having to figure out how she's going to bury him. So I mean, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. And so that's why I say don't end up being the shack up honey, because there aren't benefits for you in that relationship. There are no benefits. Hi, Jack's Vibes is here. And Juvelin is here. Who'd I forget? Thank you, Jax, for coming. I appreciate it. So you may not, it's not, in a way, it really isn't about morality and religion. I mean, to me, are you kidding me? I'm a heathen. You're not going to see me in church on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a sinner. Please forgive me for sinning. But this is a matter of practicality. This is a matter of practicality. It's a matter of, common sense. Oh, I can? Oh, okay. You're in bye-bye. Hey, thanks for being here. Oh, why no dollar signs? Oh, okay. It's because I canceled my monetization for now until I build it up a little bit. It has tax consequences in both my country and in the Philippines, and it's very complicated to fill out all those forms. So right when I was getting close to getting that first check, that first AdSense check, I cut the cord, and I said, no, we better not do it this way, because, I'll end up with nothing in my pocket, because basically the Philippine government takes 30% and the United States takes the rest. So instead of doing that, I know it's a complicated tax structure. So you really have to be making a lot of money in order for it to make sense, because the filling out of the tax documents is very, very complicated. And so we end up having to make the decision to temporarily demonetize the channel until I get up to like 100,000 subscribers. if I ever get there. And so this is more about having fun. This is more about having fun, than it is about making money. So if I were making money, though, I'd be giving it away the same way I'm giving it away now. Oh, Sir Luke is in the house. Folks, stay with me, because at the end of this live stream, we're going to have a contest. I'm announcing a new contest, and it gives you the opportunity to win 5,000 pesos. That's one person, Larice. One person has the opportunity to win 5,000 pesos. So I know that Filipinas, Charmaine, if you've been paying attention on YouTube, there's this thing, going on back and forth about, American men just coming over here to take advantage of Filipino women because they like to control their women. They like them to submit to their every whim. And that's not exactly the way it is here. And so the Philippines are starting to push back. They're pushing back in a big way, saying that, hold the phone, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And then I started thinking about how there are a lot of stereotypes, when it comes to Asian women in general. And I went researching it. Why did I go researching it? Quite frankly, I went to go research it so that you wouldn't have to. But it reminded me of something. It reminded me of something that happened years ago where I really got mad, right? First of all, just want to talk a little bit about Ma'am Minnie and I and our meeting. We've been married now 17 and a half years, almost 18 years. I know, the marriage is probably going to fail. 17 and a half years is no proof whatsoever that it's going to last 30 years. We could get tired of each other in the next 60 days and then break apart and never want to see each other. After all, Ma'am Minnie has all my money already. So there's really no need for Ma'am Minnie to be hanging around with me. Sir Luke, what do you think, Sir Luke? Thanks for coming. So after all, she has built this grand house, with her own money. And now that she has her grand house and the lot and land, and she's back here in the Philippines, is there any reason for Ma'am Minnie to want to tolerate me any longer? By the way, in our particular situation, it probably wouldn't matter one way or another. There would be no division of assets because they've already been divided. I know that shocks a lot of people, right? But when you retire, you start thinking about, I better set up a trust fund, and I better do all these different things in order to protect her, to make sure that everything works the way that we have discussed and that Dan has imagined. And so that's all been accomplished. And so we're not in this role. We're not in this situation or role that I'm talking about here. This is information I'm providing to you if you happen to find yourself in this situation. If you happen to find yourself in this situation where a foreigner decides to shack up with you and then fall madly in love, you have to plan for the next step. You have to discuss with each other what the next step after that is going to be, right? But there are other things that they're talking about. I want to finish up by saying it just makes common sense. It just makes common sense. It's not just about having someone to sleep with every night, someone to lay your head next to every night. That's part of it. I understand that. But playing house probably isn't a good idea unless you're going to the next step. And folks, I can't emphasize enough that this has very, very little to do with morality or religious belief. It's very, very simple. The person that you love, you want to make sure that they're taken care of if they survive you. How you choose to do that may not involve marriage. In other words, it may not. In other words, they may just decide, okay, if I pass on, then I'm putting you down there as the beneficiary on all my financial accounts. And then you leave instructions about how to access every one of those things, every one of those accounts that you leave behind that you feel would benefit the person that you're in love with, man or woman. It's who you fall in love with. You want to take care of them, even if it's not underneath the umbrella of marriage. And so, for example, I understand that it's very, very difficult. Mildred, hi, good morning. My own blue tag. Thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate it. Charmaine, thanks. Thank you, Zendi. Thank you, Annie, MC. So the whole idea is you have to come up with some kind of way in order to make sure that the person that you love, married or not, is going to be taken care of once you leave this world. It just makes sense. So, but if you've just become the shack up honey and the only benefit is that you don't have to pay rent any longer and the foreigner ends up buying all your food, that is not good enough for you. You see, that is not the way you should be doing it. It's not about, I guess you probably could put it in the category of morality, I suppose, or not morality, but just simply put it in the category of this is the right thing to do for the person that I love. And as the person that's being loved, you got to be thinking, about the next step. And so, in a way, I just said, see, so if you put yourself in that position of being in that environment, of being, the shack up honey, if you will, then you have to work through the next step, which is, okay, we've known each other long enough. We have, we realize we're going to be together forever and ever. Shouldn't we be considering marriage? And then the marriage opens the door for that country's, social security benefits. That's the main thing, but without the piece of paper, and trust me, I don't know why it works this way, but without that piece of paper in your hand, you get nothing. You don't get his pension. You don't get Social Security. You only would be entitled to whatever money the charming individual that you're living with decides to leave for you. I'm not making any assumptions about anybody's relationship. You can do whatever you want, you can be happy doing whatever you want. But the thing is, you have to be aware. Fat boy. What is it all about? The Philippine snake? I'm not sure. So the whole thing is for you to just simply be aware that that's a possibility, and that what I'm addressing is foreigner Filipina relationship, not Filipino-Filipina. That comes with its own set of complications, right? So, but now the other things, of course, that come into play is you may have already been married to someone, and the Philippines does not allow for divorce. They allow for annulment, which is a very, very expensive process. And of course, if you have the money to pay for it and you survive it, then you certainly do deserve the marriage to be annulled for the reasons that the church allows. All right, so let's set that one aside. So now you know my opinion about that. So let's talk about submissive. The submissive Filipina is next on my list. Only because all these videos that are going back and forth about passport bros and all this stuff, because Western women are unhappy with, this idea that men are abandoning women in the West and then heading for Southeast Asia to find a woman. And so they're making up all this kind of crap, saying that it's only because she will submit to your every whim, that she's submissive, that Asian women are, it's basically a stereotype. Any Filipino man or foreigner man will tell you this is a stereotype. Yes. There are submissive men and submissive women all over the world. They come in all nationalities. They come in all colors. They are everywhere, right? But I got to tell you that, if you're talking about Ma'am Minnie coming and refilling my cup of coffee as being, that she's she's in servitude, or that she's submitting to, she's submitting to my wishes, or whatever. Well, you can be further from the truth in that regard. You just have to take my word for it. But I will tell you this, right? I will tell you this from the very, very beginning of our relationship, Annie MC, from the very beginning of Man, Minnie, and I's relationship, the main Minnie's has always from the very beginning, she's never changed, has protected me, been very, very protective, and has taken care of me. And that's simply a Filipino trait. That's simply a Filipino trait. And so women in the West, they're having a hard time relating to this. Jerry's here. Greetings to you, my friend. Thanks for coming to this live. I really appreciate you, Jerry. Jerry from South Texas. So the thing is that, why am I talking about this? Okay, because now they're also attacking age gap marriages and things like that. Age gap marriages, folks, are starting to happen more and more. They're starting to happen more and more in the West. More so, Annie, than they've ever happened before. And what's the reason behind that? The reason behind that is pretty simple. Younger women are becoming more interested in older men because they have instant everything, instant home, instant relationship, instant money, it's becoming very, very difficult to survive in the West, particularly in the United States, for young people, because their, rents are expensive, food's expensive, everything is increasingly becoming more expensive. So they're just starting to adapt to the way that Filipinos have been living for years and years and years, for decades. The way Filipinos live, of course, is that everybody helps each other. This is a new concept in the West, right? It's a new concept in the West. They know nothing about helping each other. In the West, it's about individualism. It's about turning 18 and then having your parents kick you out of the house. This does not happen. This does not happen in the East. This doesn't happen in the Philippines, where they believe in taking care of grandma, where you have multi-generations living under one roof, 3 and 4. And now it's starting to happen in the United States because they can't afford to live by themselves. And the young people in the States are fighting this tooth and nail. You know, they're fighting this because they're trying to figure out a way to remain independent where they don't have to take care of their parents. They're not stuck with taking care of their grandparents in their elder years. But this is a natural Filipina trait, you know? This is a natural part of the Filipino culture. Oh, you know what? Am I going to get in trouble here, Crystals? Am I going to lose half of my audience because I don't like how straightforward I'm delivering the message? Yes, I know. I'm being really frank because it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Lexia Vlog. Hey, how are you? Oh, you look a little bit familiar, like somebody I may know already. Yeah, so I mean, this is why it's important to talk about these things. The Filipinas here are the hardest working folks that I have ever met. The most giving folks that I've ever met. Why would I not want to live in that environment on the ride home? You know, I've been really, really selfish. I've been really, really selfish. I mean, if you think about it, I've gone to the West. You know, I took advantage of working in the West because I realized that they were going to pay me the most money, you know. And then once I retired, I took all the money to the East and I started spending it. Now, is that right? I ask you, is that right? But I'll tell you, countries are starting to, you know, they're tightening the screws on people moving around. They're tightening the screws. You know, if you live in certain countries, I know that Australia and Norway and the UK, they have rules about this, right? You have to live so many months a year in your home country. If you don't, then they cut your benefits. They force you to come home. Well, a lot of people aren't coming home. And the reason why, by the way, the United States does not do this yet. They don't do this, but they're talking about it. I guarantee you they're talking about it. Anything that they can do to save a buck, that's what they're all about. Of course, you know, very, very few countries in the world are as in debt, as in much debt, you know, as people living in the United States, as the U.S. government. You know, we the people, they're spending our money like a bunch of drunken sailors up there on the top. So, and they're dragging Marcos into the mix. But anyway, that's a video for a different day. That's a story for a different day. I myself are overprotected. I have many reasons. Yes, and you should be, but that is a Filipino trait to begin with. And it's one that is appreciated by me. BB Coys, hi, how are you? You know, Crystals, things that you've said in the past on these chats, they're not lost on me. I'm always thinking about them. One of the things that caught my attention, how going to church was important because it strengthens your bond and belief. It is so true. It is so true. But also in almost every arena that is true, you know, and so it's religion, it's church, but it's also hanging around with like thinkers at the Lions Club. You know, for example, you know, fraternal organizations, that's another example. Sororities is another example. Connection that you make in college would be another example. See? So, yes, it caught my attention because it's absolutely true. How easy is it for you to change your life? How easy is it to change your life? Well, it took me years of people telling me, Dan, you know, it's simpler than what you're making it. But I'm going to tell you something, right? This is going to work for you if you deploy it and you don't, and you're not dismissive of me, right? You just don't dismiss what I have to say. My life turned around the day I said, whatever I've done in the past that has not worked, I will no longer do. And it sounds simple, right? It sounds simple. It took me until I was in my 40s before I realized that I was going backwards and not forwards. The day that I said, I'm going to do the polar opposite of what I've been doing was the day that my life changed forever. And so I'm sharing it with you. And crystals, you can refer to this as being one of the secrets of life, one of the secrets of the human condition, or you can even refer to it as being God's will or the law of nature. But it's a roadmap that once I started following it, then success followed. So, and it can also happen to you, but it's also very, very dangerous. It's also very dangerous because if you take advantage of it, in a negative way, this can also have a reaction. Some people would say a karmic reaction. I don't know if any of you in the Philippines believe in any of this stuff or not, but the most powerful thing I ever did to change my life was to say, I am going to live in the Philippines. I am going to be rich. I am going to immerse myself into Filipino culture. Okay? And then once I embraced that and I started to believe it, I mean, really believe it, my entire life started to change. What did I do to make it happen? I started hanging around with Filipinos. I started hanging around with people who were making multiple visits to the Philippines every single year. And then eventually I followed them. So is it not true that if you want to be an auto mechanic, let's say, is it not true that if you want to be an auto mechanic, then you start hanging around with auto mechanics, people that already do the job? You go down the street to the automotive repair shop and then you ask them if you can observe what they're doing. And most people would say, oh, hell yeah, come on, let me show you. You observe, or they'll say, oh, you can observe, but stay out of the way because I'm very busy today. That is how change happens. Anime says you're a very lucky man, mini sir, because not all girls are like her. Interesting comment. Well, but I know this is true, Anime, because I made several trips to the Philippines. Prior to meeting Man Mini, I dated doctors, I dated lawyers, I dated other professionals. I also dated waitresses, I dated bar girls, I dated women from all walks of life, and discovered that, none of them appealed to me the way that Man Mini appeals to me, for a whole bunch of different reasons. And so you were right about that. I wouldn't recommend that some foreign national comes over to the Philippines and marries the first woman that he meets. I would not recommend that. But what is happening in the West is exactly what's happening in the East. We're having age gap marriages. There's a huge generation gap. There's a huge generational gap. There seems to be. I apologize, crystals and everyone, if I'm sounding a little bit too dogmatic. I'm gonna tone it down just a little bit. But there seems to be huge demographic changes and shifts going on, both in populations and also a generational system, belief system that's emerging. And it's kind of difficult to see it, but I see it both in the West and I see as well as here in the Philippines. And it has to do in the West, it has to do with the lack of hope for the future. Young ladies and young men in the United States, right, are not following traditional values and norms in terms of occupations. And it's because the occupations that my father and your father did no longer exist. And so what they did in the West in order to entice them in order to work is they have raised the minimum wage to what they call a livable wage. Right now in the state of California and parts of it, the minimum wage is, believe it or not, $15 an hour. And you might say, oh, that's hell of money, $15 per hour in the West. But it's not. And there's also a slippery slope here. And that is that there's only so much money available in the world. This is true, even though the United States thinks that they can continue to print money until the cows come home, right? But here's the danger, right? Printing the money devalues it. Printing more and more money and debt devalues the dollar that's inside your pocket. And it also devalues the peso. And this is the dangerous part. And because of that, if you're going to raise service-oriented positions, for example, the Jollibee in Sacramento, California, starting pay is $15 per hour. They still are having problems recruiting young people. But as they offer up that $15 an hour and more, because I hear that In-N-Out Burger and McDonald's, those are your future careers in the West. Those organizations keep raising above the minimum wage, and they still are having problems recruiting young people who in the past generations would gravitate towards those jobs. They would gravitate towards those jobs so that they can earn money for college, for school. But check this out. They're not even going to school, right? They're not even working on a non-traditional job. They're staying home. And there are lots of reasons why this is occurring. But number one would be they don't see hope for the future. They see themselves working their ass off 7 days a week and then getting no return on their investment of labor. See, but that's happening to young people in the Philippines. If it's not, comment in the chat. It's my observation that it's also occurring here. That young people are walking around in a daze and they're saying, oh, I have no hope for the future. I will go to school, I will bust my ass working, and then I will have to look for an overseas job in Saudi like everybody else because I can't find one here. But things are changing here and they're changing really rapidly. If you were thinking that way, you'd be making a mistake. You'd be making a mistake because the Philippine economy is one of the strongest in the world today. And even though we're going through changes, but for example, Starlink is here now. Starlink is available here on the island of Leyte. Once Starlink gets up and running, will they have to have call centers in Cebu and Manila in the environments where they laid millions of dollars of fiber optic cable? And the answer is no. No. If you have a Starlink, if 4 or 5 or 10 people can get together and they could put their money together for a Starlink, then once they establish that account, they can work straight from home. From wherever they're at, they can be full up. Customer service representative, CSR. And where money is, McDonald's and Jollibee will be there. And when they come, that means more work. Thank you so much, Richie. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Sir Luke's, thanks again. I appreciate you coming to the chat, everyone. Man, I am very, very surprised. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe and comment. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a contest, so I expect to see comments when this live stream is converted to video. I apologize for the buffering, but here's the thing. We have a contest. It's the opportunity for one person, one of you, to win 5,000 pesos. Yes, Dan don't play. Dan don't play. Dan is going to be offering up 5,000 pesos. It's not only the grand prize, but it is the only prize in this contest that is going to be announced towards the end of this live stream. Oh man, I can't believe I hit the right button on that. Listen, it's tough pulling the levers and pushing the buttons. It really is. This is not easy, you know. Oh, folks, okay. Ah, man, I can't believe that I made one of the fundamental errors. You know, fundamental errors of not changing my Wi-Fi over to a different IP address. Okay, so here's the thing. I started having signal problems back here in the back room. So I'm way at the other end. I'm in the end of the house. I'm in this basically in the storage room, right? And so I have a room above me and then this one below. So I do not live in a 2-story house. Oh, Pacquiao Mertz. Hi, how are you? Thanks for being here, Pacquiao Mertz. Hey, Pacquiao Mertz. Pacquiao. We will be discussing sponsorship pretty soon. Sponsorship. Okay, so I'm glad I saw you here in the chat here. All right, so what happened was I had them run. So I thought I was going to have to. I don't know what I thought, but I called the fiber optic cable company up. I said, hey, I'm not getting a decent distribution of the signal. You know, my signal in the back room has fallen out. And they said, oh, well, in order to cure that, we're going to have to put it in the ceiling. But it wouldn't have made any difference because the ceiling, you know, is the room that's upstairs. So even if you move the modem or what is it, the receiver up into the ceiling, it would have covered 90% of the house, but it would not cover this area where I wanted to do my broadcast. So I said to them, well, what about running a slave router? And they said, that is a great idea. So they brought in some T1 connection cable and they ran a slave router up through the ceiling. And then they put it right outside this door. And I said, that's fantastic. And guess what? I decided to use the computer to live stream that's not hooked up to that router. Now that's the kind of rocket scientist that I am. I spend all this money, you know, running a T1 connection and having a slave router. And then prior to live, I forgot to direct my computer to that IP address, that router that's sitting over here hanging on the wall. Well, you can't see the router hanging on the wall because it's just outside this door. But anyway, that's Dan for you. That's Dan in a nutshell. So you don't want to go away unless you want to find out what contest I'm going to have that's going to give you the opportunity, you anime and BB Coys, it's going to give you folks the opportunity to win and earn, because really it's a working type of thing. 5,000 pesos. That's 5,000 pesos sent to your GCash account. And this is going to happen by the end of the month of March. By the way, is the year not passing by a little bit quicker than we'd like? I'm just saying. So if you want your life to change, and Charmaine, if you want your life to change today, You know, if you want something, all you have to do is ask for it. You know, so if you want something, anime, all you have to do is you ask the universe for it, and then you assume that you're receiving it. And so this is how Dan's life was changed forever. Because my sister had been telling me for years, the secret to life, Dan, is there are no secrets, because I'm giving it to you right now. My sister started talking about this. I was very successful human being. Good morning, Mingay. Thanks for coming to my live. My sister started talking about it, but it was on deaf ears. I wasn't listening. I was a young kid who thought he knew it all. I'm a young man now who thinks he knows it all. Let's say what Crystals has to say. The hardest battle is inside of us. Yes, we can't force change. Yeah, and over time it takes a lot of courage. It does. It does. You have to be goal oriented. That's the key. You have to be goal oriented, but you have to be reminded of your goals. You have to move those goals from the back of the subconscious mind to the front. I feel sorry for the women in the West. I really do. You know, I feel sorry for the women that are getting on TikTok and they're making disparaging comments about Western men. Listen, the internet has opened up the world to everybody, Crystal. It's opened up the world to you. It's opened up the world to me. There are limitations have been eliminated because of the internet. And now Starlink is coming to the Philippines. Starlink is here. What happens, Zendi? What happens during Starlink? What happens if you're lucky enough to team up with people in the barangay and subscribe to that Starlink system? Is magic. It opens up the world of opportunity for you. You know, and so the Philippines is going to change. For all those that are considering going over there and signing a 3 to 5 year contract to work in Saudi, to work in Riyadh, to work in Tokyo, to work in Taipei, to work in places all over the world in service industries, have a plan to return back. BB Coys, have a plan in place to return back, because the Philippine economy is going to take off. It's going to take off for many, many reasons, you know, that would be boring, and too egocentric for Dan to explain. I say egocentric because, someone's going to say out there, yes, of course, Dan knows it all. How could he know it all? I don't have a crystal ball, folks. Remember, I am a social scientist. I look at demographic trends, right? I can predict the future by just looking at population trends. And of course, getting a handle on what people are feeling by watching YouTube. I become a keen observer of the human condition over time. You know, I'm a natural born sociologist. I'm not a forecaster in a way of predicting the future. You know, and so but as my sister was telling me, the way you achieve your goals is very, very simple, right? First, you establish what the goals are. Then you tell people what the goals are, because the people love you and care about you, and they're going to assist you with making those goals a reality. Then 3, you make sure that every day you have a way of visualizing that goal becoming reality, and then you get your mind to accept that reality is the way you're living your life today. Yes, declaration of something you love is the most important in accordance to God's will, of course. Yeah, but would you not be surprised, Crystal? Right? Yes. Okay, so I could argue that, yes, we're talking about God. Yes, we're talking about a law of nature that has always been there. You see? So you're saying God's will, as though God were a human being, you know? God's will. But there are a lot there may be a lot of supernatural entities out there, and yet there may be none. But I'm not allowed to say that here in the Philippines because that's blasphemy. And by the way, I'm a non-practicing Catholic, but I would not give up my Catholicism for anything. This is a very, very interesting thing, crystals. This is a very interesting thing, right? And I consciously married another Catholic who is a practicing Catholic. Folks, do not ever interfere with a person's practice of their religion or spirituality. Do not ever interfere with a person's desire to practice their religion, or don't interfere with them not with their ability to grow or enhance their spirituality. I'm not sure if any of that made any sense. See, but if you do that, you'd be making a mistake. You're probably going straight to hell. Did you get that? Did you get that contradiction? Dan, do you believe in a heaven and hell? That's the question. That's for Dan to know and for you to find out. You know, that's for Dan to know and for you to find out. I know, it's complicated. It's complicated. But so you go on YouTube channels and they're going to give you the secret to life. The secret to life is, as my sister said, there are no secrets, because I just shared it with you. I just shared you the very, very beginning of the process, right? But I can share a couple more that I've learned with you. You know, I could share a couple more. And that is that if you look in front of the mirror every morning, so men, it's easier for men to do this, right? Because men, they're looking in the mirror every morning and they're shaving. By the way, not necessarily you, Sir Luke. There's a little beard joke there, Sir Luke. Oh my gosh, I kill myself sometimes. That deserves a round of applause. But you have to look in front of the mirror every day, and you have to say a couple. You say your prayers of your prayers are affirmations. And so crystals whose practices, she will say prayers, and prayers are affirmations, right? Prayers are affirmations. So you pray or you make affirmations every single day. You make affirmations. Don't ever forget to do that. But a way that it moves from the subconscious mind into the conscious mind is you do it while you're standing in front of the mirror. You make the affirmations while you're standing in front of the mirror. And it's an amazing thing. Have you ever heard that the eyes are the gateway to the soul? Well, the eyes are definitely the gateway to the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, But you have to acknowledge what's in front of you. You have to acknowledge that you're what's in front of you, And so one of the things you can do, let me just give you a simple example of how I start my day. After I shower, right? I'm looking in front of the mirror as I'm shaving, and my own existence. See, I acknowledge my own existence. How often do we look inside the mirror and then we don't even acknowledge that we're there? Have you ever thought about this? I am Dan. I'm going to have a great day today. I'm going to smile as often as I possibly can today. I'm going to acknowledge the beautiful people around me today. I am Dan. I exist. I am Dan. I love myself, loving myself. Buffering. And so you have 24 hours in a day. How long, crystals, does it take you in the morning in order to make the affirmations, the prayers that you say, that you say every day, out of a 24-hour time clock, out of a 24-hour day. Not very long. Folks, this is not hocus pocus. This is the power of the human condition. It's, I can't put it any other way. If you were an atheist, which I happen to know most of you are not, but if you were, this still is going to work for you. I guarantee it. Listen, the explanation to it, I don't have to think too deeply about it. I really don't. Because any goal that I want to achieve, I can affirm the achieving of that goal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be, you can be an atheist and you could be saying these affirmations. Just so happens that the majority of us in the room are probably Catholic. We practice Catholicism, right? And so we make those affirmations in the form of a prayer, right? But I have changed my life by looking in the mirror and saying, I am living in the Philippines. I am rich. I have money in my pocket. I have the love of the people around me, I have taught this to many. I've taught this to many, and she understands how this works, So, for example, I've talked about this before, but I'm just going to rehash it a little bit here. First of all, the first step is make a decision on what you're going to do. And so the first thing that when Minnie started saying, I'm going to build this house, right? But I don't know how I'm going to build it. I go, okay, well, I'm going to help you by showing you a possible roadmap about how this has to take place. 1, save money. 2, buy land. And 3 is laying the foundation for the house. So she's looking at me and she goes, okay, I get saving money and I get the buying of the land, because you need those 2 things before you can purchase the house, before you can build the house. But what is the third thing? The third thing about the foundation? I go, yeah. I go, it's not ritualistic. All right, it is not. What this is about physically laying the foundation for the house, because I know that once you take the first step of putting the first hollow block in the place that it's going to go, it doesn't even have to be the first hollow block. Once you stake out the lot, to where the walls of the house begin, that is where the house is going to be built. And then the rest of it follows. And Filipinos know this. Filipinos know how this works, because that's what they do. That's how they establish where the house. They select where the land is where the house is going to be on the land, and then they just start building it. We'll build this house over time, but they actually visualize the home being there. And I was explaining Minnie that this is how you start visualizing it. Once you put the stakes up. Once the land has been surveyed and you put the stakes up that shows first the property line and then next the outline of the house, then the house just happens. And she looked at me very, very confused at first. She didn't understand that this is the way it works. I go, yes, this is the way that it works, And sure enough, Ma'am Minnie, she went to work on it it was just like since we're talking hell, this was just like a bat out of hell. She takes off, right? And before you know it, she has the money saved and then the land purchased, and then the stakes, the surveys, and everything just fell into place. But it didn't fall into place on its own. right? She assumed that this is going to happen. And once you make the assumption, you start believing that it's going to happen, then the thing actually takes place. And so a lot of people do it this way. A lot of successful people do it this way. Oh, thank you so much, Sir Luke. Thank you. I truly appreciate you, man. I really do. I appreciate everyone that's here. Now you got to stay with me, guys, or how are you going to find out what the contest is going to be like? Of course, Mertz, of course, I know there's talk out there. Dan has been generous with his time and money. Here's the whole thing, right? This is part of it. This is part of it. I don't hoard money. People may have gotten the idea that I do that because I'm always making jokes about money, but I don't hoard it. I share it because I understand how money works. It doesn't really ever disappear, right? It doesn't ever really disappear from your wallet. It temporarily does, right? But when you start circulating it, mystical and magical things happen. Oh, no. By the grace of God, things happen. See? So they're not mystical and they're not magical. They're universal. They're universal, laws of nature. And so, yes, God is involved. Yes. And universal laws of nature are involved. They all come into play. So the thing is, all these things are important. All these things are important, to understand. You can't interfere with a person's. You can't interfere with a person's spiritual growth in any event. I know that. For from based on my own experience. Can never interfere with a person's ability to be the person that they would like to be. So that some of you know this, some of you know because you've become successful on YouTube. Some of you know this to be true because you zeroed in on YouTube. You said, "Oh, wait a minute. YouTube could very, very well be my ticket out of poverty. See, I can earn money on YouTube. I can do it myself. I don't have to rely on anybody." Well, that's kind of halfway true. You actually realize that the more in your family, the more in your network, the more people that support you on YouTube, the more help that you'll get from the people that want you to be successful. In other words, you've gone out on there, and because of your participation in YouTube community, they now know, your friends now know that what your goal is, and your goal is to use YouTube in order to improve your life. I mean, who is a part of this community right now whose main goal is to not make friends and improve their lives in the process? Because have not some of you, and again, I want to be careful here when I say this, because I want to make sure that I'm not upsetting anybody by my frankness of words. But have you woken up one day, Talks, and you open up your Gcash and there's money in there? And you look at it, you go, "Holy crap, there's money in my Gcash account." How did the money get there, Talks? Talks, how did the money get there? Well, number one, people would not know that you even exist, Talks, unless you let them know that you exist, right? And you've done that through the YouTube community. See, you've let people know that you are alive, that you are here, that you're a good person, and you're here for specific reasons. You let them know. And then maybe perhaps you put it out there into the world, you put it out there in the universe, you prayed to God, and you said, "Gee, I want to accomplish a certain thing. It sure would be nice. Sure would be nice if I opened up my Gcash to discover that there was money inside my Gcash account. And so Tox, has it ever happened to you that way? And so you open it up and there it is. There's the money. Listen, it does matter how the money got there, right? So somebody wakes up and they're thinking about you, Annie, they're thinking about Larice, they're thinking about Tox, and they just wake up and they say, you know what? I'm going to do something nice for somebody today. And then they send you money. But it doesn't have to be in the form of money. It could have to be, it could be in the form of an affirmation. I wish Mildred the best day that she's ever had today. I wish Mildred the best day that she has today. And it becomes Mildred will have the best day that she's ever had today. See, folks, I got to tell you something. The first time that I ever got in front of a mirror and I looked in the mirror and I said, do you love yourself? I cried. Because I realized I did not. I did not love myself. But in order for you to love others, you must love yourself. And I realized years ago that I was a very unhappy person. I'm very, very unhappy. See, I was very unhappy, past tense. But now I wake up every morning and I'm just happy. I'm happy. I'm concerned about what's going on in the world, but otherwise, a very happy person. So we have these Filipina stereotypes going around. And so I wanted to talk about it. Don't be swayed. Oh, I buffered again. Don't be swayed. I buffered on my end anyway. Don't be swayed by the garbage that's going on the way that it's being presented by women in the West, Oh my gosh. These ideas that I have, they come from all over the place. One is humanbreeds.com. So if you want to fact check me, if you want to go to see where Dan gets his crazy ideas from, well, I scour the internet so you don't have to. But it would be unfair to me to present information to you without telling you how I have come to certain ideas, how I've come to gain certain ideas. Yasmin, welcome. Let's see. Good morning, Tox from Crystal's Adventure. How's the dwarf elephant doing, Crystals? How's the dwarf elephant doing? You probably could start a whole new YouTube channel, Crystals, with the elephant being the featured YouTuber. It probably would be your most successful endeavor thus far. Yeah, you could have the elephant giving words of wisdom, talking about their life, what it's like to be a dwarf elephant. That would be hilarious. I would watch every day. If you did a daily vlog, I would watch every single episode, every single day. Oh my gosh. But here's the thing about stereotypes, right? Here's the thing about Western culture, right? Here's one of my biggest fears that I would like to share with you folks in the stream, right, today. The biggest fear is that they'll import all of Western culture this way. That's my biggest fear. And as I observe, even here in the small town of Bye Bye City Leyte, as I observe, Um, I'm afraid that we're headed that direction. So what am I talking about? What am I talking about? Well, McDonald's just purchased land here in Byway City Leyte, and I would imagine it isn't because they don't want to build a McDonald's here. You know, I would imagine that McDonald's bought land here because they're about ready to build a McDonald's. Okay. And so I don't know about you guys, right? But wherever I see a McDonald's, I see fat people. Now, is that a coinkydink? Is that a coincidence that wherever I see McDonald's, I see fat people? By the way, is it going to keep me away from buying a Happy Meal? Probably not. Is it going to keep me from buying a Big Mac occasionally? Probably not. A Big Mac is delicious. Jollibee Chicken Joy is joyful, and that's why they call it Chicken Joy. So, you know, everything is okay, 100% in moderation. Did you get that, Sir Luke? It's in moderation is the way that people should live their lives. I don't dictate to anybody how they should live their lives. But this is the importation of Western culture. I tried to explain it. I've tried to explain it in the past on folks' live streams. On my own live stream, I've explained that we're in for Mr. Froggy's Wild Ride, and YouTube is all the proof that you need that this is happening. YouTube is all the proof that you need, because in Southeast Asia here, in the Philippines, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Cambodia, but my most recent experience is here in the Philippines and Thailand. YouTube is bombarding us with commercials, and those commercials you need to pay attention to, because they're all about the food. They're all about the food. They're all about convenience foods. You know, they're either about frozen foods. What's frozen food? You slaughter a pig, and if you're lucky enough to have a refrigerator, you put the rest in there. But if you don't, you barbecue that bad boy, and then you share it with all your neighbors, because that's what Filipinos do. But now I'm seeing advertisements for things like they're not this particular brand, but in the West, we have the thing called the Green Giant. The Green Giant. The Green Giant is a frozen vegetables and foods. And so now I went to Metro Mart the other day. Oh yes, coffee. My beautiful wife is here. Say hello.
Hi.
Ma'am Minnie is in the house,
morning,
folks.
guys.
Ma'am Minnie is here.
This is the last one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
There.
This will keep me going. This will keep me going for another few minutes.
Okay, guys. Have a good day. Bye.
Coffee for everyone. Coffee. Sana all. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, just a simple thing like that, and I'll forget exactly where I'm at. The commercials tell your future. So true, Dan. It's not our business to contradict with their belief. We just have to share what we believe, and respect should apply. Absolutely. That's absolutely a true statement, every bit of it. And that's why I like you so much, Crystals. That's why I appreciate you so much, because you understand this. You understand this. Respect is the key. Sharing is the key. Affirmations are the key. We should, yes, Anna, we should have our own beliefs and practices. We have to respect them. That's right. I would imagine that you will hear me one day say that I actually walked into church this mine day. I don't know when that day will come. I don't know if it will ever come. I suspect that it shall happen one day. But in the meantime, I say my affirmations every day, and I'm just sharing with you some of the secrets that really aren't secrets. They really aren't secrets. You'll notice on YouTube channels, particularly Larry Lee's channel, right? Larry Lee gets on there and he's oriented towards coming to the Philippines. And so this will become Larry Lee's reality because Larry Lee is affirming it and sharing it with all of us. And we appreciate it. Because Larry Lee does this, this is going to aid in his actual arrival to the country. You know, things have changed since the last time Larry Lee has been here, by the way. But as long as he's sharing the dream with all of us, then we will assist with allowing it to come true. And how do we do that? By sharing our love, by sharing our thoughts of goodwill with Larry, by encouraging him, you know, to come here. Those are the ways that we should be doing it, you know. And but also, listen, that doesn't mean that we don't share realistic expectations that will help others find their way here also. Mingay says, yes, for me, the key of a great world is respect each other's opinion or belief and tolerate each other's differences, because that's what makes everyone unique and that's what makes the world go round. And you're absolutely right. I agree with all my heart. And so, but we're living in a very complex world, you know, and so I'm not trying to be some kind of a guru to you guys. I'm not trying to be a guru. I am trying to give you ideas. I'm trying to share ideas with you so that you can formulate your own ideas and opinions about what may be going on here. But the frozen food thing and the commercials are two big signs. I know they seem so innocuous. They seem so minuscule, you know. Oh, commercials, they have nothing to do with me. I have no money. I can't go down to McDonald's or Burger King or Chow King or Jollibee and buy a burger every day. Yeah, you cannot, maybe. I cannot. But perhaps you do it one time a month, where before you were doing it 0 times a month. That's the influence that it has. And the next thing you know, your children are coming to you, mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy. Why can we not be going to Burger King and getting a burger, a Whopper, just like Johnny down the street or Jane down the street? Crystal says, I've been in a lot of trouble in my life, Sir Dan, and prayer is the only way I know I can hang on to survive. And you know this because it works. It's your experience. It works. It helps you get through these very, very tough moments. You know, from this day forward, Crystals, I'm putting you under my umbrella of protection. I already think about and say positive affirmations for you every single day. But you know what, Crystals? I would not even know that you exist if it were not for YouTube. I would not have known that you even exist. But today, I say affirmations for you and for everyone in this chat every single day. Has your life changed? Because I know it has. Has your life changed, Larice? Because I know it has. Has your life changed, Anna Mae? Because I know it has. Mildred, has your life changed for the positive? I know it has. Mingay, has your life changed for the positive? I know it has. Sir Luke, believe it or not, Sir Luke, since the first time you showed up in my chat, I have been thinking about you in the most positive way. So, and Filipina Raquel, and Sammy and Robert, you know, all these people. LJ, thank you so much for coming to my live. And of Beth, and of all of you who take the time out of your busy schedules to make positive comments in my chats, to make positive comments in my videos. I thank all of you, and they're reminders that you're there for me. They're reminders that you're there, and they're reminders that positive affirmations of health and wealth and success are because you're there. You're human. It's simply because you're human. I know you're alive. You know, I know you're alive. I know you're there. Okay, so I think I've reached some of you. You know, caring. Yes, that's right. Sharing is caring, and is the universal law of love, my friend. Sharing is caring, and it's the universal law of love. Sharing is synonymous. Sharing and caring is synonymous, in my humble opinion, with love. And so that's how it goes. I imagine that you wouldn't even be here if you didn't care about me. I imagine that that you would have run away by now. Some people have, you know, some people have. Some people saw the title of my video and they saw my my thumbnail and they said, "Oh hell no, I'm not going to go to Dan's live stream. That's just clickbait." But hey, to know me is to love me, because you knew, you saw that. Yeah, you saw that that thumbnail, and it didn't scare you away. Didn't scare you away, crystals. It did not scare you away. Yeah, because see, truth be told, you know, 90% of my subscriber base are Filipinas, married, single moms. My subscriber base has kind of largely been ignored on YouTube, and the reason why is because it doesn't pay very much AdSense money. Oh, I love this, Minnie. Minnie, thank you so much for coming to the live. Listen, I know that you guys are so busy today. I know that you're making breakfast, getting your kids off to school this morning. I know, but I acknowledge you. You know, I acknowledge you for caring for your families, and I accept that you make up the majority of my subscription base. Okay, and because all this stuff is happening, because I almost said magic, but it's not really. But some people can refer to it as being that, but it's not really. But so what I see coming is this. So I'm laying it out to you, right? I'm laying it out to you. When you import Western culture the way that the Philippines is doing it, and I have no opinion whether this is good or bad. This you have to decide for yourself. This you're going to have to take the time to decide for yourself. But it may not be good nor bad, it just is. But something that caught my attention. And I practice what I'm talking about here. So Monet is here. I'm going to so specific. If I could just stop buffering, I'm going to tell you, this won't happen next time. It was a rookie mistake. I apologize. It is because AdSense, revenue return, right? Money is not evil. Number one, money is not evil. What you do with it can be when you have it. but money in of itself is not. And so you want to earn it. And that is my goal, is to earn it in a big way, to share it with you, earn it in a big way. And so we're launching, right? We're launching in that endeavor because, as I've stated, I know it's going to happen because I have made those positive affirmations that it will occur. And I'm sharing it with you, and you are going to help me make it occur. And so how you're going to do it or why it's going to happen, I'm going to explain to you. It's because number one, you're going to help me make it happen. But number two is that when you import Western culture, you also import jobs to the Philippines. And the Philippines, they have this, because of they make big leaps in Western cultural adaptation. They don't do it in small steps. They do it in huge leaps. And so I have observed that something is about to happen, and that is the exploding Filipino economy. But the economic power that is going to be here in the Philippines is economic power created by the jobs that are coming for women, not all at once for men. Men is going to happen slowly over a longer period of time, but it's going to be the women that are going to be behind the economic powerhouse that the Philippines is going to become. And Dan here has recognized it, and now I'm sharing it with you. It is the women of the Philippines that are going to emerge as the breadwinners of their family and the greater contributors to the economy in the Philippines. And I could go into detail about that in another live stream, why it's going to happen this way. And I beg of you to be a participant in this endeavor, to open your eyes and be aware of your surroundings and be keen observers of things that you see happening in society. Pay attention to the commercials that come on YouTube, trying to sell you cars, trying to sell you blenders, trying to sell you microwave ovens, trying to sell you washing machines and dryers and all the things that we know in the West as being parts of whatever you want to call it, modern society, if you will. The Philippines is going to be an economic powerhouse in the world, and it's going to happen almost overnight. And so why would I go and try and appeal to Westerners when I know I have to be true to myself, that the growth for this channel, right, and the money it's going to bring through AdSense is going to come through the Philippines, the country of the Philippines, and not through the United States. Think about it. Now, at first, I'm gonna confess something to you. Yes, confession. We're going to confession. I'm gonna confess. When I first started YouTube, I could not see it. I did not see it. But then I started pondering, why is it that the largest Filipino channels are speaking in Tagalog? Why are some of the largest channels on YouTube not speaking the English language? Right? Why are they projecting and appealing to Filipino populations? The Filipinas in Visayas, the Filipinas in Manila, the Filipinas in Cebu. Why is it that they're doing this and they have, 1 million subscribers? They have 200,000 subscribers. Right? I looked, and then I pondered. I was sitting there, ponder. I'm pondering, right? I need a round of applause for myself for pondering. And the answer became obvious. It's because they have figured out what no one else has figured out. They have figured out what you folks already know. And that is that by somewhere around 2030 or 2035, the Philippines and Southeast Asia in general will emerge as the economic epicenter of the entire financial world. And if you pay attention to these subtleties, these subtle things that are happening in the form of commercials, these things that are packed away in your subconscious mind, and you bring it to the forefront, then your eyes are going to be opened up. They actually already are. It's not that you have to listen to me tell you this. Some of you already know this, like Pinky Gray. You know, Pinky Gray, for example. Everyone here in the chat knows this. You know it because you see the AdSense money coming in every month. Today it's $100. Tomorrow it's $200. Next month it's $1,000 per month in American money. Folks, you know it's going on, but most of the people like me in the West, we don't. And then all of a sudden it hits me. Wait a minute. Growing this channel does not rest in the hands of people in the West. Just because they go into stores like SNR and buy, goods, that you can't find in America, that's another sign. That's like Costco, one of the biggest retailers that we have in the USA. If you go into SNR, on the shelf, you're going to see Kirkland products. Kirkland Products is Costco in the West. That's Costco. Folks, the Philippines is becoming an economic powerhouse post-COVID. They were an economic powerhouse with 9% growth rate prior to the pandemic. So that means I don't need to think about how do I balance it out so I have an equal number of Westerners watching my channel as I do people that live in the Philippines or in Southeast Asia. I don't have to worry about that because you folks are the ones that are going to be out there buying the goods and taking advantage of the services. It's hard to imagine now. Because the women in the West, they're talking about, Western men just want to go over there and marry impoverished women so they can lord over them. And that could not be further from the truth. Is Ma'am Minnie bringing me a cup of coffee? Is that lording over her, or is that just part of the Filipina culture? I mean, you decide. But should I feel guilty because I didn't have to get up off my dead ass and go get another cup of coffee? Should I feel guilty? Or do I just have an understanding of Filipina culture? All right. So you guys have put up with me long enough. So now the contest. What's the contest all about, Dan? Here's the contest. Now that you know me so well, and you have known me so well over the years, these are just your principles, Dan. A lot of Westerners don't understand the difference between positive and negative affirmation. Negative is marketed as cool. Sir Luke, that is very true. That is very true. It is marketed as being cool, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in on those words of wisdom. So now, before we end this live stream, because I am in a couple seconds here, the contest, the chance for you to earn 5,000 pesos Gcash coming straight to your account by the end of March, by the end of this month. You have to come up with a new channel name for Dan's Retirement Journey Philippines Bound. Yes, it's finally time. because I'm here and you know me well enough now. And so you come up with a new channel name and you put it down there in the comment section once this once this live stream converts to video. This is the only opportunity you have to win 5,000 pesos today on this contest. Attached to this live stream video. You don't have to be here to win it. You share it with all your friends and you have them comment. Have them view the video. Have them chime in on what they think and then come up with a suggestion for a new channel name. Right now, it's Dan's Retirement Journey, Philippines Bound. And I'm going to be doing 2 live streams. I'm going to be doing 2 live streams per week, starting this week. So it's going to be Wednesday at 8 and Saturday at my usual time, 7 a.m. So let's see. I apologize that I wasn't able to catch up in the chat. Oh, Nitban is here. Hi, Nitban. Nitban is here. I'm glad I caught up with you. Are you still in Southeast Asia? Are you still in the Philippines? Are you going to Palawan? Are you in Thailand still? By the way, folks, Nitban and I, we met up. We were able to meet up in Thailand. So I really, really appreciate it. Folks, I'm on battery power. I gotta real quick switch over and plug in. Hang on. I got issues today, folks. I got issues. Uh-oh. I can't find it. I gotta move this around so I can see this. All right. Sorry for sorry for dropping you. That's what makes the whole channel thing fun. So Nitban, are you home? Are you in Thailand? Are you coming to the Philippines? Let's see. Let me see. Well, I'm sure we'll find out soon. Oh, okay. You're in Koh Chang, Thailand. All right, that's beautiful. So you're in Koh Chang right now. Beautiful. Thanks for making the live. I really appreciate it. Finally got you live. Saturday, 6 a.m. is hard to attend from Thailand. Yeah, it is. I agree. Yep, especially after a wild and crazy night out, right, Nitban? So Nitban is here. Yeah, I've been wondering what's been going on with you. So you're in Thailand enjoying your life. And Larry's here. Larry made it. Did I say I was going to start at 9 or did I say 8? Sometimes I can't even remember. Anyway, I was just talking about the contest for the channel name. No, don't share your idea with everybody, Larry. Larry's already shared an idea with me. If you want, you go find out by going and watching Lazy Larry Lee's last live stream. And he made maybe 1 or 2 suggestions for a channel name. So, but you can't take his. You cannot take his, but it'll give you an idea. It may give you an idea and a leg up on what kind of a channel name I'm looking for. So, it should be probably short, sweet, probably should have my name in it, but it doesn't necessarily have to. But so, whoever I select, whoever comes up with the channel name will win 5,000 pesos sent to your GCash account on the very same day that I make the decision. All right. So it will happen by the end of March. And if you want, I could do the announcement live on my last live stream of March. But the key here is giving everybody a chance to participate. And so let all your friends know. Come in, watch Dan's live stream, make a comment down below, and give a suggestion for a channel name, a new channel name. Sir Dan has dreamy eyes. That's 2001: A Space Odyssey right there. Yes, indeed. If you can only see the basement that I'm working out of today, Knit Dan. You can only see. So listen, I skipped over a whole bunch of comments, and I really, really apologize. And miscommunicated with Larry Lee over my start time. Dan the man, guilty on all counts, always. But anyway, for those who just popped in, I was just talking about, the economic powerhouse that the Philippines is going to become, and I gave them my illustrations, and I talked also, in wrapping it up, I talked about the back and forth bantering that's been going on Passport Bros, which is really starting to piss a whole lot of Filipinos off. And I also explained that I didn't come over here because I was looking for, a Filipina to be subservient to me. Although that would be nice. But that probably isn't the main reason why men are leaving the United States for parts unknown. It's not just U.S. men. It's men located in the West, who are just looking for, a lifetime partner. For crying out loud, divorce is rampant in the West. It doesn't matter what country you go to. Divorce is rampant. In the United States, divorce probably happens 50 or 51% of the time. I don't even know what the average, how many years an average marriage lasts in the US of A. But I would imagine it's somewhere between 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years isn't very long. Yes, breaking up is hard to do. Because when you break up in the West, you're giving away half of everything to your spouse. You're giving away half of everything. Any wealth that was accumulated during the marriage, is ending up, half of it is ending up in the hands of your spouse. So some people think that's a fair way to do it, and other people think that it's not. I just happen to think that the rules need to be tightened up a little bit. For example, if and when this occurs, then it's on a sliding scale. I mean, obviously, if you and your wife made equal contributions to your life success, then you divide everything in half. I mean, obviously, that's a no-brainer. So, but it's difficult to weigh contributions, especially when you're a homemaker, you're raising children, that's worth money. That's worth more money than any money that I could ever accumulate over time. That's just a fact. So, in a way, a lot of men don't like it. But the main thing that I think they're objecting to is how, oh, by the way, I meant to mention this. I'm going to mention this on the way out. Yeah, you always mention the most controversial stuff on the way out, right, Dan? Yeah, that's right. But women are oftentimes selected to be the CEOs in corporate America and also in governmental agencies in America. It's designed so that you don't get accused of discriminating against minorities. So women in the United States are considered to be in the minority class along with a couple of other races, right? So here's an interesting thing that I've observed happening in the United States over the course of years. They would rather have a woman in charge than someone else. So you could fill in the blank, than have a minority man. I've seen this happen time and time again. It's becoming very, very popular in the West. So it isn't that women aren't capable of holding those positions. That isn't the point. The point is that some corporate board of directors and some heads of governmental agencies, way at the top, have decided that they would rather have a woman in charge than a minority male. And that's just my observation. Whether it's actually true or not, I don't know. But when you look at corporate boards, right? When you look at corporate boards, it's very, very interesting that seated on those boards of directors and board of supervisors and city councils all over the United States are men. Men appointing women as CEOs and CFOs of their corporations in order, in my opinion, not because they aren't capable. It's a combination of things. They have a capable woman. It's to avoid conflict with a minority male is my idea. And so I could be totally off base with this. I could be totally off, but that's what I see happening in the United States. And so as women emerge in the United States and the West, by taking advantage of the economic power that they have in the West, right? It spills over into their personal relationships, and what I mean by that is that the women are becoming economically powerful in the West. And so as they rise in economic power, it spills over into their household, right? And oftentimes the woman is making more money than the man. So in the Philippines, what I see happening in general, what I see happening is they're skipping over that part. They're skipping over that part, and they're looking towards the West for guidance on by looking there, not for guidance, but they're observing. And then they're saying, hey, we could skip this step of being accused of racial discrimination by putting women in not only positions of power, but in all employment situations. See, in other words, traditionally men are in construction and women are in service-oriented professions in the Philippines. And for the most part, that remains the way it is in the West, even though they've tried to overcome it. But here in the Philippines, what I notice is they're going straight to appointing women as being heads of government and corporations. And then behind the scenes, you have board of directors made up of the majority of men. So in the West, they did it in order to avoid appointing a minority man. Oh no, we're not having Dan run anything for us, even though I may be capable. You see, in favor of a very capable and educated woman. I'm just pointing out my observation. And as Crystal said, I'm being very bold in my presentation of information today. But that's something that you can ponder. That's something that you can ponder, not necessarily accept it as being undeniable truth. It's an idea that I'm sharing with you, an opinion based on observation, not based on fact. But so thing is, they're skipping over that here in the Philippines, right? And so, but you can't get by the cultural, the established culture of the Philippines, which is that friendly, helpful, smiling, even in the face of cataclysmic events like Odette, right? I mean, I just lost my house, but hey, tomorrow's another day, and then you start rebuilding, and that is the strength of the Filipino culture, you see. In other words, the smiles, the helpfulness, the friendliness, the welcoming of all people. But in Philippines, in corporate environment, in employment environment, they're hiring lots and lots of women. And so this is the reason why I say that the Philippines is going to be an economic powerhouse. But if you notice the commercials that are showing up on YouTube, they're directed towards women. They're not directed towards men. They're not. I mean, you might be able to find one or two commercials where they say, oh, the man is the head of the house. The man is going to be making this decision of buying a car. But you might find one or two instances, but that's not who they're directing their advertising. Their advertising is being directed towards Filipinas because they know, because the marketers, the economists, everybody knows that the economic power is going to be held by Filipinas working, educated Filipinas, college degree. And now that the West is coming back here in the form of also in the form of military personnel by opening up bases, you can do whatever you want in order to soft shoe this thing. But around those military bases and the importing of military personnel are going to be all the support services that they will need. That means hospitals, that means fast food places, that means everything that comes along with it, industrial laundry, commercial laundry shops, food, restaurants, the whole thing is coming with it. And so that means employment opportunities for you. And so that's where I get that by 2030, 2035, the Philippines will be an economic powerhouse to be reckoned with, but the most economic power that will be held in the hands of the women. And you're already trained for it. What I mean by trained is most women are the ones that are doing the household budgets because they're the ones that are doing the shopping. So the man goes out there and he works, he's working whatever job, driver, laborer, construction worker, skilled, unskilled. They're bringing home that paycheck and then they're putting it on the table, and the Filipina is the one that's in charge of making sure that that money is allocated to where it needs to be allocated. Well, that's training. That's training for running a corporation. That's training for employing people. That's training for being a Jollibee fast food manager. That's training as a hospital administrator. That's training, you see? And so that's the way that I view it. And so, hey, again, it's Philippine Life According to Dan. No, you can't use that as a potential channel name. Because I just gave it to you, so you cannot now use it. So anyway, I'm just sharing this stuff with you so that you can ponder it. Dan, according to Google, marriage lasts 7 to 8 years. Larry, you know what? Thank you for doing that. I would have thought a little bit less, but 7 to 8 years, being the forever, it's a good thing they don't have divorce in the Philippines, for crying out loud. But see, the Philippines is in a great place for economic growth also because you have also the population is very even. You have an equal number of men to women, and so demographics have a lot to do with economic growth. And you research that and you come and tell me. Dan is full of it. Yes, I am. Of course I am. But it doesn't mean that you guys aren't going to help me grow the channel. So now I've laid it out there for you folks. I've laid it out to you why I gravitate towards attracting Filipino subscribers as opposed to doing what everybody else is doing, trying to attract Westerners. I could just go back like some of the other channels do without naming them because you already know what they are. I could just go to the easy reach stuff, you know. I could interview Filipinos looking for Western foreign men to marry. I could do that. I would probably get all kind of hella ton of likes. I would get all kind of hella ton of subscribers, right? They would be coming from the West. Oh, look, Dan's going to tell us how to meet a Filipina. That's great, you know, and then I get all these hits on my channel, right? Or I could spend the majority of my time doing what I've been doing in the past, showing you different places that Minnie and I have traveled, bringing you a travel vlog in general, like a million other YouTubers are doing. Or I could give you, you know, the 10 reasons why you should not retire to the Philippines. Or I could give you the 5 reasons why you should retire to the Philippines. Listen, all that is not going to help me. Listen, everybody else is doing that, but I know the secret. I'm the one channel that knows that the Filipina is going to have the economic power. And so the future AdSense money is going to be coming from you and your friends. That means you encourage all your friends to join up Dan's channel starting today. You send out the Facebook tags. You send out the YouTube tags. You send out all the information you can to all your female friends and your male friends and say, hey, join this guy's channel because he's got something to share. And so I think in the future, this is the direction of the channel because it's the direction that nobody is going because they think that you can't make AdSense money. You know, they feel as though you can't make AdSense money. But you, each one of you that are making AdSense money that are here in the chat know better than that. I go into plenty of YouTube channels where you're just speaking Visayan. I go into plenty YouTube channels where you're speaking Tagalog. And I enjoy myself to no end. And I don't even understand the language. Why is that? Why is that? Because you're speaking the universal language. You see, the universal language of love, the universal language of music. You see, and that's the attraction to your channel. And you're getting AdSense money. But yet the majority of the people that are subscribers are not Westerners. They are Filipinos. See, like I said, they're huge channels that are directed towards just the Filipino people. And they're making a ton of money. I always lie and say I'm female Cro-Magnon. Well, quite frankly, Ed, I probably would. I probably could meet you in person and I'd come to the same conclusion. You could have whatever online persona that you want. That's one of the beautiful things of the internet, right? So anyway, of course, where I started this whole thing in the very beginning, I had said that Starlink is here. Starlink is here, right here on the island of Bye Bye. And I implied that it's going to change the face of the Philippines. And it most certainly is going to change the face of it. It's going to add an economic opportunity. It's going to add tons of economic opportunity, tons of ways to make money. Tech companies, there's a quota called female engineers, and the managers need to fill those positions. That's right. You see, Nitban is, thank you for laying it out there. See, tech companies, there's a quota called female engineers. And so sometimes we have to go out there and we have to hunt for months to find the female engineer that meets the criteria to be hired. Sometimes we have to go through hundreds of them. But there is a quota, as Nitban points out. There's a quota. And so the Philippines is just skipping over that. And they're just saying, hey, we could avoid a whole bunch of headache by just hiring females to do our job, to do everybody's job. You know, automotive repair, construction, electrician, you know, all these things that we need. You know what, Crystals? I'm going to tell you that the female is foundational, obviously, you know, I mean, for me, I mean, this is the way that I've always believed, you know, I was single. I got to share this story real quick. I probably bored you guys to tears with my stories, but I got to share this. Crystals, I'm going to tell you straight up what I believe. Straight up, where I'm not going to hold anything back. I've been divorced several times, but I believe that I would not be able to achieve success, the type of success in life that I have achieved, without a partner in life. And so that 12 years that I was single was they were very difficult and tumultuous times. But as part of the rebuilding process, for rebuilding my consciousness, for rebuilding my belief system, part of it was getting married. It was way high on the priority list because it was purposeful. That's number one. For however sterile or unattractive idea that is, right? I realized that I cannot complete the entire circle of life and the entire circle of success in my new belief system alone. That I had to be married. I had to have a partner in order to provide foundational support and to also have a reason for living into the future. I believe that with all my heart, and I make no apologies for it. I believe that that's part of the formula for success. So that's not to say, Nick, Ben, or Larry, that you need to run out and you need to find a woman. That's Dan's belief system that I'm sharing with you. And again, it could be as simple as because I believed it, it occurred, but because I believed it, it happened. There were other things involved in that decision. There were other things involved, in other words, not only would it have to be a woman, it would have to be a woman that already had a child. It would have to be a woman that, that I could grow with. It could grow with me. And that turned out to be Mini. So 17 and a half years, coming up on 18 by the end of this year. So I would say that, everything kind of worked out, right? It sort of worked out okay. Yeah. There's a woman, but no one talks about who's behind that successful man. That is an excellent point, Nidban. That is that. Who is behind the? Yeah, I dare you, Nidban. Listen, it's a man's fault he's not successful. He doesn't have a woman. Exactly. Well, here's the thing, Nitban and I, we used to banter like this all the time on Chris and Sabu. So I always appreciate when Nitban shows up to these lives, because we used to banter like this all the time. Somehow we connect, we understand each other, and we understand each other's sense of humors too. So he adds a new dimension to the whole live stream experience. Yes. Oh yeah, Nidban understands you. He wouldn't dare say that he didn't. Okay, so listen, don't miss out on the 5,000 peso new name challenge, right? And I told you how you get there. If you come up with the name, you're the first person to come up with that name, and you're selected, then you're going to win 5,000 pesos. Let me ask you a question. Can you use 5,000 pesos? If you can use 5,000 pesos, then please go to work on coming up with a new name for Dan's channel. But one more thing, and that is that you have to tell me, and the only way you can tell me is by commenting down below in the comment section. Once this live stream is processed and turns to video, then you start going to work, and come up with a channel name. So that's 5,000 pesos in your GCash account on the very day, the very moment I announce the winner I will have my cell phone open right here and we'll announce this winner, right here on live, on my last live in the month of March. Of course, I may be sharing my thoughts with Larry and Knitband and others, to let me know what they think. Let me know what they think about, the names. I may be pondering, but I won't reveal to them who I'm going to choose. It's not because I love you. It's going to be because the name makes sense. It's not because I don't love you. It's because the name makes sense. So I'm putting of course I want Crystals to win the big prize. Of course I want Anna Mae to win the big prize. Of course I want Akio Mertz to win the big prize. Larry Lee, you're ineligible. You're ineligible. Of course I want Zendi Papa to win the big prize. But there will only be one winner. There will only be one winner. And we're not doing a drawing. It's the name that resonates with the dancer. Like I said, I may share it with Knitband. I may share it with Larry or Tim or Sammy or somebody. But it's Dan who's going to make the selection, And it's going to be whether the name resonates with me. Crystal says, Lazy Larry Lee, but you make things to be better. That matters most. Or that's right. And I know for a fact and that he does. And by the way, just like the comment, there was a spirited live stream that we had over there on Larry Lee's channel. One of his, I don't know, his last live or the one before that. Listen, that kind of bantering that goes back and forth, I really love it. Not only do I love it, I thrive on it. But it ruffled a few people's feathers, and I'm sorry for that. It isn't, the idea is that mostly with these lives, what's important is the sharing of ideas. That's how I feel about it. I don't hold grudges against people just simply because you don't believe in what I believe in. That's ridiculous. I have respect for your ideas, and so the whole ruffling of feathers, what the brilliance is? If we could have a spirited discussion like that and then still remain friends, that's what's important to me. And as Knitband says, Larry, and for your successes as well. Yes, but success, it keeps being pointed out to me is your definition of success. And that is absolutely a truism. It's how you define it. But be careful. Be careful what you say and what you share with other people, because, we tend to be tricked all the time about sending out comments that we think are positive affirmations that are disguised, really. They're disguised as positive affirmation, but designed to keep you impoverished. Be aware of those. They're designed to keep you impoverished. I believe this with all my heart. I make no apologies for thinking about this and sharing it with you. You could give advice for how to meet a good Filipina. No. No. I think that I mentioned on this live stream that I'm going to avoid the desire. See, I desire to do it, but I don't think I would be very helpful. Yeah, that's the thing. And I definitely don't want to put myself into a situation where I offend anybody. So, hey, look who's here. Leonard Lund found me today. Hey, I apologize if there were communication errors or mistakes on what time I was going live. I'm an old man. But I affirm, see, here's this. I'm trying to get my soundboard back up. The thing is that I am young. I am young in elephant years, right, Crystals? That's the important thing to keep it in mind. That's the thing. Don't think in dog years, right? Don't think in dog years. So be careful spreading affirmations around that you believe are positive affirmations that tend to be disguised as positive affirmations, but really they're trying to keep people impoverished. I'm at a loss of trying to come up with a good example for what I'm talking about. But all you have to do is don't worry about stuff like that. What you do is you just do what I say. Accept the fact that you're a successful human being, because you're human, you're successful. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is accept the fact that you have the privilege of being on this planet as a human being, and that in of itself is an extremely powerful thing. Yes, step one. That's right. Were you listening earlier, Knitband? Because I sort of said that. I said you imagine it first, and then that is actually step 2 or 3. You're a little bit ahead of us, Knitband. Step 3 is probably buy a ticket to Manila or Cebu. Yeah, that's probably like step 2 or step 3. So, but yes, you get it. I think you've always understood where I was coming from. So now Leonard's here. Now we are complete. Who's missing? No, Tim. Tim isn't here right now. But I think Tim had expressed his frustration with that live stream. Oh, first time here. John P is in the house. So I think Tim was one of the ones that expressed his frustration. Now, Larry's a gentleman and a scholar. When I responded saying in the chat that I thought it was a great live, it was spirited. I enjoyed it. I not only enjoyed it, but I loved it. Larry pointed out, yeah, but it didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it to go. So that's fair. That's fair that you say that, Larry. I appreciate that you said that. And so let's just leave it there. I appreciate. I have my opinion. I thought it was great. I was not offended. I was embarrassed, as a matter of fact, by not having factoids, right here that I should be aware of. I should have known. I was a little bit embarrassed, but Larry pointed out that, hey, it didn't go exactly the way that I wanted it to. Yes, but first you have to ask for the money. Yeah. No. You're not going and borrowing the money. I mean, the universe will send me money, or something like that. Yeah, you wouldn't say the universe. You say, I will have money to go to the Philippines tomorrow. Something like that would be an affirmation that I've used. And then it should happen. They're all from Bisaya, John, including me. Yeah, so you're welcome here. Well, anyway, so whatever you thought about that, okay. Larry is the moderator. He's the head cheese. He runs his own live stream. He'll talk about what he wants to talk about, and I'll talk about what I want to talk about because it's my live stream, right? And I wouldn't interfere with you, Anna Mae. By the way, I did enjoy our meeting. That Anna Mae, I wish that we had more time to spend together with each other. I had a whole bunch of questions, but I realized that it wasn't the setting, to start asking the type of questions that I was curious about. So, listen, Anna Mae, maybe I will be brave enough to start communicating with you in the messenger. Other than just saying the niceties that we exchange every day, like, hi, how's it going, Dan, blah, 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 like that. So anyway, I just want to let you know that I consider Mel and Anna Mae at this point to be very close personal friends. I mean, them making the effort to come all that way to meet up with Ma'am Minnie and I that's very special. You know, I mean, they had to travel a long way to get there. And so it's very, very flattering that they took the time to do that. Let's see what Tox has to say. Tox is in the house checking in. I don't know, maybe Tox is running a live right now. You know, maybe Tox is running a live. So you guys, you get all your friends involved in this contest. Technical female is the exact term used. Yeah, we all know what that's code for, don't we, Knitband? We all know what code. And so, but do you believe what I believe, Knitband? Did I present it fairly? That there will always be men behind the appointed woman. That was the point. I'm just laying it out there. There's always going to be some, in the West we're talking about, there's going to be some men who's in charge of that woman lurking in the background, right? And so this is part of the reason why I think there's so much hate out there being projected by Western women towards Filipinas, is because they're very, very unhappy. You know, their men, they say their men are going over to Southeast Asia and marrying subservient Filipinas. I'm going to tell you something right now. My wife is anything but subservient. Speaking of discussions, we've had a lot of spirited discussions when making important decisions concerning our lives together. And so, however, Cro-Magnon females are exempt from many technical requirements. Ed cracks me up. Ed kills me. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. We're on the same page as far as wanting to get an apartment in Cebu. And I'm bringing this information to you, and I hope that you appreciate it. So we're going to be making our way towards Cebu. We're going to be doing the apartment search. And the reason is because we've always planned together to have an apartment in the city as well as a house in the province. The number one reason being that I would be near, and Mamini, we'd both be near medical hospitals, you know, in the Philippines if an event occurred, you know, so she doesn't want to have to wrap me up and mummify me and take me to airlift me to Cebu, you know, in the case I needed medical care. And so we're just going to make sure that we're there a good majority of the time. That's all. I'm not saying that anything is going on with me. There's nothing going on with me. I'm healthy. You know, I've got a few issues just like everybody does, but there's nothing serious. And so we just wanted to be near the hospital, you know, Chunghwa, Mandawi. That's the one that I selected to form a relationship with. That's the one that Mamini selected to form a relationship with. And so we have to go see how close we can get to Chunghwa Hospital, how close we can get in terms of an apartment in our price range. Of course, they don't call me low budget Dan for nothing. And the cheaper, the better on the apartment end of it. The cheaper, the better, you know. And so I put my people out there. My peeps are out there sending me information. And when I put out my budget, they kind of went, snowball chance in hell, Dan, we'll find something. But I don't believe that. I believe we will find something out there. So all you people that are in the Mandawi area of Cebu, start looking for me. Start looking for an apartment. You know, my max budget on the high end, it's got to be a furnished apartment, no more than 300 American dollars. That's 15,000 pesos a month. I feel like that's a very generous budget, but it'd be nice if I could spend half as much. It would be nice if I could find a place for $150 per month that's furnished. I know it can be done. I've seen YouTube channels where people have done it right there in Mandawi, right near the hospital. Somebody knows somebody that has a place they want to rent. Be nice. It's studio apartment is fine. Studio apartment is fine. So medical would be the number one reason we want to be there. Number two is going to be because it's easy to hop over the bridge and fly out. You know, it's a gateway to most countries that we want to visit. And so that's what we're trying to do here. I believe a man only needs a Filipina. You and me both, brother. You and me both. And so we're on the same page. We're on the same page, John P. Everybody needs somebody sometime. Everybody needs somebody sometime, or something like that. Ed Denoy, it's a cool song. It absolutely is. So now, one last comment about the contest. I just want to make sure everybody understands. The name has to be shared in the comment section after this live stream becomes a video. And if you are selected to have the name that resonates with me, and perhaps I might consult Larry Lee or Knitband, then I will announce the winner at the last live stream in the month of March. This is what, are we in March? March 1st in the Philippines here. It's March 1st in the Philippines here. And I just checked my bank account. I got my pension money. I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah, I could appreciate all that. You can have whatever you want, Larry. I don't object. But Larry's doing an important thing here, right? He's sharing it with all of you what he's looking for. I do not have any objections to getting married, but I do not want a marriage that will keep me here in the cold. And I also do not want a long distance relationship. So that's pretty specific. And so you should be able to find that love of your life. So no LDRs. And I agree with Larry. Just because an LDR worked out for me doesn't mean it's going to work out for you. And so you get to have whatever you want. Dynamite Dan, yes, I'm on fire, yes. So an explosive live. Dan's World. Oh, Sir Luke, no, you're not. You're unless you're here in the Philippines already, I would have to deem you ineligible, you know. But it's a great name. It absolutely is a fabulous name. Sir Luke, go in and look around and see if that name is already taken by somebody. Dan's World. So with all that being said, we've gone a couple of hours. I apologize again for the issues I had, you know, with the internet wigging out, you know. Dan does not love me. More than you know, Larry. More than you know. So here's the thing, you know. I want to explain one more time about how the internet happened. I started getting the white circle of death. So I had a slave router put in right outside this door, and then I forgot to direct this computer that I'm live streaming from to that IP address, to that router. So here I spent all this money, right? It was not inexpensive, right? It was a little bit crazy how much money they want. They ran a T1 connection up through the attic, right, and down, and hung a slave router right outside my door so I wouldn't be interrupted in my broadcast. And guess what happened? I forgot to change over this computer over to the slave router. I mean, it's a rookie error, you know. Please forgive me. So anyway, the other thing that you have to do, people in the chat, is you have to get all your friends to sign up and comment too, because we don't want to leave anybody out. We don't want to leave anybody out of the opportunity to win the grand prize of 5,000 pesos by choosing a new channel name. All right. So now listen. I'm putting that money aside right now. I'm putting the money aside as we speak. Oh, one more thing. I was told by the bank to not fold up the new $1,000 bill. So if you have them, they don't want you to fold them. If you end up folding them, the merchants are being told, do not, okay, do not fold, do not accept them. So now, Man Mini tried to present one of those new $1,000 bills, 1,000 peso bills to a merchant who said they were unable to accept it because the bank won't take it. So if you haven't seen that new bill, I don't have one on me. I was just looking for one. It looks like plastic wrap. You know, it's like plastic, and if you fold it, you're going to put a crease in it. If you put a crease in it, you're going to have to take it back to the bank. The bank is going to have to give you a new one in its place, and then that one will be destroyed. The president of this here country, and I agree, has asked that you respect the money in the Philippines, respect it by not folding it up as though it has no value in your wallet. So do not do that. Get yourself a clutch purse or whatever you need, a wallet that holds those bills straight so they won't crease. All right. So please respect the money. I'm a firm believer in this. It's consistent with my belief system. I didn't say you worship it. Right? Who will be the new name wiener? That's right. Who will be the wiener in the name contest? Dan's channel name. Right? New channel name. No more Dan's retirement journey, Philippines bound. Dan's retirement journey, Philippines bound. Now listen, a lot of you have suggested over time, Dan, you need to change the channel. You need to change the channel name. So as Sir Luke wishes everyone good luck. Already has come up with a winning name. But it's ineligible. If you stole that name, Tox, and you put it up there and you went with it, you probably would have a good chance of winning. But here's the thing. You have to tell all your friends the contest is on. You will not have to be present to win. But please, the only way I'm going to know what your name suggestion is for the channel is you have to go into the comment section. And you have to put it right in there. Dan, love your live stream. Here's my suggestion for a new channel name. And then you put it out there. And when I announce the winner, you still won't have to be present to win. You would want to, right? You would want to be here because you want to hear your name being thrown out there, right? To the world. I won. Yay, yay. And of course, I want everybody to win, but there will only be one winner. It's the name that resonates with me. So, okay. Take care of that elephant, Crystal. Larry, without adding any political opinions about anything. Without adding... Oh, so I kill myself, right? Without adding your political 2 cents to this live stream. Just... Oh, Pumpkin Joe says... Pumpkin Joe's here. Pumpkin Joe, how's it going? I'm waiting for the day I can collect that sweet retirement money. I still got some time left though. Well, you know what? We're gonna be pushing our well wishes and thoughts your direction. So maybe it'll happen sooner. I don't know. It could. Maybe we can cause something to happen by wishing that you get that retirement check tomorrow, as opposed to having to wait a little bit longer. So I apologize again for not getting through all the comments, but Larry Lee, who's anything but lazy, if you can just lead us out of this with your mantra, take care of yourself, everyone, stay safe and healthy, plus try to have fun, then we will see you Saturday at 7. I hope I'm not confusing people. Saturday at 7. Philippine time. That probably is going to be Sunday night sometime in the States. On my next live. Take care, folks. Bye-bye. I wish I had outro music, but, what can I do? Take care. Bye-bye.